Welcome to the Enlighten Up podcast, where I am going to take you into a deep exploration of what it means to exist in this current reality. We are going to raise your vibes, open your mind, expand your heart, and dive deep into the wondrous mysteries and possibilities of this lifetime. There's been a spiritual catalyst that has set in motion the awakening process of many across the globe to return to the knowingness of self and unite what has been separated. Together, we're going to bring light into that darkness. We're going to remember the joy of living. But most of all, we're going to turn up the volume of our own eternal power and do the thing we're here to do. Welcome back to the Enlighten Up podcast, everyone. Today, we're going to be discussing the full moon in Cancer. And as you might be able to tell, I am without my very, very precious, beautiful, mystical sidekick, Mary Decina. Unfortunately, she's been ill. She has not been feeling well. She is on the mend, but we've been trying to get a recording in to do this show, but she's lost her voice. Our favorite mystic has lost her voice, so she is unable to do the show. And so I told her that I was going to try and channel her spirit for all of you today and bring her lovely energy to the show. She wishes you all a very happy new year. And I know that she wished she could be here, but she just cannot strain those vocal cords. And we know how our Mary loves to talk. She can take the whole show on by herself. I actually love when she comes on. It's like a nice break for me. I just get to sit here and listen in and absorb all the wisdom that she's sharing with us. But she cannot do that. And so I will be going over the full moon in Cancer with all of you today. And to be quite honest, the way I see this full moon in Cancer is I believe this is about having a very serious and honest conversation about your past and where you are headed. We have this full moon flavored by our favorite planet, Mercury, in retrograde. Mercury went retrograde on the 29th of December and will be in retrograde until the 18th, 19th of January this month. And so Mercury is the messenger of the sky. Mercury is responsible for all of our information, our communication, our technology. Yeah, Mercury rules Gemini, which is about transportation, and it also is about local communities. And so I think, Mercury represents also contracts, negotiations, and sales, and all that great stuff, commerce. All of that is kind of in a bit of a tizzy because, Mercury, when it goes retrograde, we're talking about revisiting the past, redoing something, reflecting on something. So this particular full moon, because Mercury is 1 degree off from the sun, which is opposite our full moon in Cancer, there is definitely a big flavoring here of, in my opinion, some sort of information or conversation or contracts from the past that are coming up for renegotiation in our beautiful sign of Capricorn, where the sun is right now. And I really want to say that it feels like there's a leveling up happening with this full moon in Cancer. There's realizations and important conversations, whether it's just a conversation with yourself or with others. It's really truly about what has been illuminated here in this full moon? What are you ready to kind of perhaps bring to a close, especially with Mercury retrograde? We're talking about perhaps having to finish something that is undone, so that you can really move on to the next level of something. And, when we talk about this full moon in Cancer, it is happening at 6:07 p.m. Eastern time. So for some of you, you will be experiencing this on the 7th of January. And it's happening at 16 degrees of Cancer. And Cancer, as we know, is ruled by the moon. And so for all of you Cancers out there, whether you're a Cancer rising or maybe you were born under the sun in Cancer, you tend to feel these full moons the most. And this is the most potent full moon of the year because it's in Cancer. So the moon represents our emotions. It represents our intuition, the unconscious, the hidden parts of ourselves that most people don't really get to see except those who are really closest to us. It represents the feminine energy. Cancer rules our home life, family. It also deals with our maternal issues, our personal spaces. It rules our comfort zone, and also the deeply hidden parts of ourselves that only the closest people in our lives really truly get to see. So something is being illuminated within this area of our life. And with the moon opposite the sun, as it always is in a full moon, the sun and Mercury are both in Capricorn. However, Mercury is now retrograde. And Capricorn represents, this is all about finding our worthy dreams and really deciding to do the work and go after it and achieve it. Capricorn is really about achieving and determination and doing things step by step, not cutting any corners. Really, it's truly the sign of leveling up. And it is also a sign of achievement. Achievement is, I think, the epitome of Capricorn energy. It is where we have our healthy structures, our good boundaries, solid boundaries, so that you can build a solid foundation. It is about doing the work, getting something done step by step, not taking any shortcuts. And this is where you really want to climb the mountain all the way to the top, as it is ruled by the goat. And so with Mercury and the sun here in Capricorn opposing this full moon, the emotions are deeply felt. And it feels to me like something may be illuminated here around yourself, your feelings, or even the hidden parts of you that require a conversation that is visiting or revisiting, I should say, a topic of serious nature. Or at least you're really wanting to get serious about it. Capricorn is a very serious sign. You want to maybe revisit topics around responsibilities, your status. Capricorn rules the 10th house, which is all about status, career, goals. So at this time, it is also bringing in your home life and family. So all of these things are kind of on the table and up for discussion. And I say discussion because Mercury is involved. And I really feel that there's a huge potential with this Mercury retrograde and this full moon that some feelings are going to be revealed, possibly with an important partner in your life. Doesn't have to be romantic, but just someone who is of an important nature, an important connection in your life. Someone possibly from your past, where there may be, when we talk about the sun represents our identity, right? It's how we show up in the world. It's who we really are. And Mercury is only 1 degree off of the sun. Now, when a planet is within 1 or 2 degrees of the sun is our biggest star, right? So the planet gets completely combusted. It loses a lot of its power. And with Mercury already being in retrograde, I feel like communications could be very interesting around this time. Now, in general, this full moon is a pretty easy full moon. It's not too dramatic. It's not too crazy, but I think it has the potential to go awry only because of Mercury really getting lost in the sun. And this is kind of highlighting your own identity, when it comes to your own personal feelings about something, deeply felt emotions over something, that maybe not, there's like this push pull, right? When the moon and the sun are opposite, there's a push pull between your actual identity and your own consciousness to the unconscious and deeper feelings. So there's just this, and that's why on full moons, people go a little crazy, right? So something is not exactly, it's not that it's not lining up. It's just, there's this tension, but the tension is there for a purpose. It serves to bring something to the surface, which when we think about the full moon, it is about illuminating something. So what have you been feeling, or what have the hidden parts of you been feeling that really require a conversation around possibly leadership, around you leveling up over something? Okay, around you getting serious about something. It's like, where have you maybe been slacking? Maybe where have you maybe not been completely honest with yourself about certain things? I know for myself as a Cancer, this is obviously the full moon's happening in my first house, and it's opposing my seventh house of relationships. One of the things that has been coming up in my awareness, which really feels like it's kind of coming into illumination more so this week, is one, I'm really wanting to get serious about my one-to-one relationships. I'm really wanting to trim away the fat, where it's just bloating, like it's not really, it's not solid foundations. And also, where have I also not been maybe revealing parts of myself or allowing myself to be fully recognized, seen, or what have I not been fully committed to? Capricorn is a very committing sign. It's really about making a commitment. And for me, I'm really wanting to get committed with my one-to-one relationships this year. I think 2023 is going to be something where a year where I want to look at my relationships with invest the kind of energy that I do into my own business. It's important to me this year. I've realized that maybe I haven't been putting the kind of energy and time into specific relationships that I would like to nurture and develop or create. And that this is the year where I'm going to change all that. And so this full moon is, very much affecting that for me. And knowing where I have to make some changes, which takes me to Uranus and Taurus, because this full moon in Cancer is being affected by Uranus and Taurus. It is making a sextile to the moon. And sextiles are, as you guys know in my alchemy course, I talk about this all the time. Sextiles are door opening energy. Doesn't mean something guaranteed is going to happen. You have an opportunity. It is up to you to take an action to step through that door. And so Uranus and Taurus sextiling the moon is, saying, hey, a shift, a change, doing something different can be really helpful at this time. There is an opportunity to shake things up, do things in a different way, a way maybe you've never done them before. Perhaps even too, Uranus represents, it rules Aquarius, and we talk about our long-term goals, because Uranus rules the 11th house. So looking at like, what are my long-term goals, my long-term visions for myself? How do I need to shift something up there so that I can actually achieve what it is that I want to achieve? And of course, when a planet is making a sextile to the moon during a full moon, it is also making a trine to the sun. And the trine is the most favorable aspect in astrology. So I feel like with Uranus making this very favorable aspect to the sun and Mercury retrograde, it is perhaps going to bring some sudden, unexpected communications or information out into the open that is likely going to take either you or others or all parties by surprise, but in a good way. In a good way, because this is a very helpful energy. It feels like it's time to shake up your values, okay? Or shake up your relationships, and your resources, your money. And this is because Uranus is in the sign of Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus. And so, all things Venus are going to be influenced by this conversation. So relationships, your values, your resources, beauty, creativity, the arts, all of that is kind of coming up, possibly even because Uranus is in Taurus. We're talking about agriculture, land, things like that. But it's really influencing this conversation. So this very important, serious conversation about how things were in the past and how they need to change for the future. Yeah, because Mercury retrograde, we always tend to get people from our past showing up. Yeah, exes or just people from the past in general can show up during this time. And to me, it feels like it's a little extra with Uranus kind of helping this transit by shaking things up and doing things a little differently. Whatever the foundation wasn't good. It needs to change. And I think overall, whether this is going to involve anyone else in your life or just you, it's about realizing what are the foundations you've been building upon, right? The Capricorn is very much building strong foundations for a strong future. This is your goals. This is your career. This is like your, these are your big purpose and achievements. So this is all what Capricorn is about. So we have this interesting door opening energy where the door opening energy is happening with the moon, which is your emotions, your feelings, right? Your intuition. Feels like there's an opportunity here to express something, get something off your chest, share something that has not been shared before or is very unusually shared, like you don't usually share it. And it's going to be communicated in a way that is either with someone from the past, or you're revisiting a past conversation, or really looking at redoing something over, or finishing tying up the loose ends and completing it and closing the door for good, so that you can level up and get to the next level. There's something around this full moon in Cancer that speaks to a place that has destiny involved. And interesting, as I'm saying that, I will share with you, I pulled a card for this full moon. And the card that I pulled is the Starborn. And the Starborn talks about destiny. It talks about the divine child, and it talks about the star child. So I'll read it here for you. The Starborn, an elusive yet radiant aspect of the self. The Starborn archetype points to the cosmic spark of light that arrives with each being at birth. The moment the newborn crowns, whether vaginally or surgically, the royal stars above are said to constellate in a unique shape that maps our path in the world. The idea of destiny is controversial, yet the Starborn naturally feels a sense of destination and purpose, aiming itself toward a future that is beyond the mundane. When this card appears, travel back to your birth story for clues and insight. What did you desire when you were young? Practice seeing your life from a mythic point of view rather than a series of logistics, which is very moon energy, right? Read the story of the three fates and envision yourself born under the stars with a unique destiny. Now, when this card is in alignment, when it's in the light, this is about being a light. So this is about trusting. This is about vibrancy and having aim. And that's what this feels like, because it feels like there's a realignment happening with this full moon, that there's something being illuminated with the deeper parts of yourself that need to have some form of expression at this time. They need to be revealed. There needs to be illumination here that hasn't gotten its day in the sun. It hasn't been put in the spotlight before. And it's time to be put in the spotlight because it is a part of the destined path. So there's something that's coming up here deep within you, that there's going to be some expression, again, with you only, maybe other people, someone from your past potentially, that truly is about aligning you with that purpose or that destiny that's taking you to the next level. And it requires a serious conversation, as I said. It requires a certain level of commitment. This isn't about, just throwing out some ideas, throwing out a few lofty goals, and then just forgetting about it. That is not the energy of this full moon. There is something very not to repeat myself and say serious, but it's almost like it's time to move forward and move on from an old way of being. There is no more time to spend in that old state. It's done. It's over. It's time to let go. And in some ways, part of that letting go is some of your own feelings and emotions that have been deeply held within. It could be that you're going through some sort of metamorphosis of your own emotions and feelings, of things that you used to feel a certain way about, but now no longer do. So what you felt about something in the past, or maybe felt about someone in the past, you now no longer have the same feelings or emotions, and it's time to purge the old so that you can move forward with the new. And again, Uranus is really helping to shake things up. It's about doing things differently. It's about aligning with your future vision, your future goals. So what else is happening here with this full moon is the moon is actually in a very loose trine with Neptune in Pisces at 22 degrees. And there's a 6 degrees of separation here. So it's a loose trine, but it's, Pisces is also, when we look at the moon card in the tarot, it is ruled by Cancer and Pisces. So it's a Pisces and Cancer card. And so I feel like this part of the alignment is important for this transit. To me, Neptune is making this full moon extremely powerful. Because remember, this is a very favorable aspect to the moon. It is making it a very powerful opportunity for sharing your feelings and moving through some very healing waters, or even aligning with your deep dreams and desires. So this aspect with Neptune is creating a lot of depth. I feel like if there are any conversations that do happen around this full moon, or remember, you're going to feel this 3 days before, 3 days after, so, and you could feel the effects for the next 2 weeks. It just really depends. For me personally, I tend to feel the effects a week prior. I tend to feel things a little earlier. Some of you may feel them a little later. It's neither is good or bad. It's just how you communicate with the stars. But I think that this full moon could really allow for some through conversations and explorations of feelings, deeper feelings, the uncharted territory of feelings where you don't usually go, and really bring things out into the open so that it's either going to bring on a commitment to move forward on something or with someone, or it's about a commitment to letting go of the old and embracing the new in some capacity, right? There could be a lot of healing that comes up with this full moon. You guys could experience, you could have a conversation with someone that just, it closes the door, it closes the chapter. It's the closure you needed to have, maybe with someone from your past or something that's been left undone. I feel like that could be a really strong possibility with this full moon. Just so much depth, so much like a willingness to go deep into the unknown, into the unconscious waters that really explore new territory from a place, though, that's truly connected to your dreams and your desires. Like your dreams, your fantasies, what you wish for and hope for to achieve in long-term goals. Now, what else is, let me also say this, because Neptune and the moon are in such a beautiful conversation here at this full moon, I feel like nothing is going to be left off the table. Like there is no topic that can be left off the table. Like it just feels like, I don't know, nothing is not up for discussion. Like everything is up for discussion. It's truly, in my opinion, this is a really big opportunity to go where you've never gone before and possibly discover things that you had no idea were actually even there. There's a lot of possibility with this full moon, whether it's possibility through closing an old part out or reigniting something from the past that is now ready to fully commit forward. There's something here that has a lot of possibility. Now, Pluto in Capricorn at 27 degrees is sextiling Jupiter in an out of sign sextile. So Jupiter is at 1 degrees of Aries. And this particular sextile for this full moon, again, remember, sextile is a door opening energy. It is saying, hey, there's an opportunity here, but if you want it, you're going to have to take some action. This Aries is all about the self, right? It's about what you want to go after. It's the starting point of a new journey. And Jupiter is in Aries, expanding that. It's at 1 degree too, right? It's at the very beginning. It's saying, hey, new opportunity, new adventure, new path, possibly a new page in your story. Maybe it's a blank slate too. It could even be like, let's give this whole thing a new blank slate. And Jupiter's really enhancing that and working with Pluto by saying, it's time to show up in a bigger way that reveals who you really are to the person or situation at hand. Like, we're talking about Cancer, which rules the home. This is kind of like an either go big or go home kind of energy, right? You go, Capricorn is about big dreams and going big for your goals, right? And it's got that, it's either go big or go home energy. It really does. So it's time to look at that bigger picture, right? Jupiter is all about looking past the horizon, looking at the big picture, not really getting so caught up in the details. That's not what Jupiter wants to do. This is like, let's look at the big picture. Let's look at the bigger vision. There also could be a transformation of beliefs of how you've always seen things. Perspective shifts could be happening here around a person or a situation. That could also happen. And it's really time to get honest about this bigger picture, about what it is that you really want and desire, right? The Aries energy is all about, what do you desire? What do you want? What are you going to go after? And what are you going to get? And then Pluto and Capricorn is like, okay, and now how are you going to do that? Let's set everything in motion. What do we have? What foundation needs to be transformed? How do we dig deep and get our hands dirty and get the work done? I think this is one of the bigger questions for this full moon for you to ask yourself is, what needs to transform in order to make this happen? What needs to transform in order to make this happen? That's a big question for this full moon as you kind of look at the different dynamics here. And then we also have Venus in Aquarius is also trine Jupiter in Aries. No, it's not. It's a sextile. And so Venus making this sextile with Jupiter in Aries is giving the feminine aspects of this moon a boost of confidence, which again is the emotional side, right? The femininity is all about the emotions and the deeply held feelings, and really giving, Venus that confidence and courage to really show up in that expanded way that sets her apart from the old ways of doing things. So again, Venus is all about your money, your relationships, your resources. So being in Aquarius, she is future focused right now. She's possibly even reinventing herself. So there's something about the feminine aspect of you really wanting to reinvent yourself. This could be also just women in general wanting to reinvent yourself for your future in how you're going to show up in that more expanded way. And it feels very much that, I don't know, I just feel like there's so many feelings coming up for this full moon. There's so many feelings being expressed at this time. Like, this is such an uber potent full moon in Cancer because it's all about the feels. Like, it's all about the feels. And I just feel like everyone's going to be feeling very expressive with their feelings, or they're going to feel a very deep desire to express, or perhaps it may just get blurted out, right? Because again, Mercury is combust the sun, right? It's in combustion, being so close to the sun. And so it's losing some of its power to communicate properly. And so there could be, again, a sudden outburst, but it is likely going to be helpful to the situation. It is likely. Well, let's just put it this way. It will, whatever it is, the outcome will be beneficial. Whether it's time to close this chapter and this is done, or, okay, like we're moving forward. So full moon in Cancer. So many deep feelings here. So many deep feelings. Let me also just take a look at the chart as I just see if there's anything else that I want to add in here as I look, because Mars is also going to be, I want to say Mars in Gemini at 8 degrees. Again, Mars is still retrograde. Mars is retrograde, Uranus is retrograde, and Mercury is retrograde. Uranus is deeply affecting this moon, so that retrograde aspect is there. Mercury's in retrograde next to the sun, deeply affecting this moon. There's a lot about revisiting, redoing. What are you not done yet? What needs to be redone? What needs to be finished? So Mars in Gemini is about to be in a very nice aspect with Venus in a few days after this full moon in Cancer. They're only 4 degrees apart, so it's making an impact on this full moon, and I like it. I like it because this has got we're on the same page kind of energy. It feels like whatever's going to happen, it's going to either, if you're not on the same page with someone, you may have the opportunity to get on the same page by revealing some deeply hidden feelings or information that finally gets its light in the it's finally gets its day in the sun. Or it's about aligning your own masculine and feminine energies to be on the same page for your deeply desired goals, and how that's going to how those are in alignment with these hidden parts of yourself that feel like they're dying for expression right now. So I like that Mars and Venus are having this beautiful conversation during this full moon. The masculine and the feminine are getting very close to being on the same page and in being in cohesion, and perhaps having a very beautiful conversation with this. The only issue that I will bring up here that I'm looking at right now is that this full moon in Cancer is in a square with Chiron in Aries. It's 4 degrees off. It's not like a hard square, but this is where I feel like there's some healing needed. There's healing of self that needs to it's kind of creating this. To me, squares like to force an action. And so the conversation that may be happening for a lot of you over this full moon is catalyzed by this wounded healer energy of Chiron needing to find expression, needing to come out to the surface, or this desire for healing finally like forces a conversation. I think could also be a part of this. So I love it. I think it's good. So full moon in Cancer, lots of feels. All the feels for this particular full moon in Cancer. It's just going to be like I don't know, maybe a vomiting of emotions, but not in a disgusting way, like almost in a relieving kind of way. It's almost like, yeah, when I think about my ayahuasca journey and after the purge, it's like, oh, I felt so good. It didn't feel so good when it was coming out, but afterwards, just so like relief. You feel lighter. And I think that's what this full moon in Cancer is going to help a lot of us feel, is a lot lighter for our future, our goals. And because we're closing something out here, we're tying up loose ends, we're redoing something so we don't have to go back to it again. And it allows us to move forward. Again, this could have to do something with your home life, returning a sense home, nourishing connections with family or your tribe. It's about deepening relationship with that home feeling, but also knowing like you can't get stuck there in your own shell, right? The Cancer, the crab, sometimes you can just get stuck being at home and not really revealing yourself. And that's what I think is this Chiron is doing for the crab here within all of us is that it's forcing us to get out of our shell and share some feelings that it feels like a long time coming. I'll say that. That's what it feels. It feels like this was a long time coming. Now, I will say Cancer represents the feminine, the maternal issues. It's about children. It's about the mother. And I just find it very interesting that the womb of activation course is happening the day after this full moon. Very interesting. There is so much that is pouring out of me for this womb of activation. I'm really excited for those of you who've signed up. It's the most exciting work I've ever channeled and pulled through. I know this is going to be turned into a book. I already feel like I think that's what I'm going to start on next is writing this book because there's just more information coming through all the time. And I want to say that there are powerful codes that are embedded in this course and this activation. And the moon represents our intuition, right? It represents the feminine. And the sun, as we know, is a portal into this universe. It's a portal. It's a stargate, right? And through this womb of activation, literally opening up a portal for all of you to access anything and everything that lies within the universe to be known. And on top of that, the sexual energy of the feminine, of the goddess energy, is so alive and palpable in this course. Like, I just got to say, fair warning to any of you who are partaking, or those of you who are considering, this is so powerful. There are going to be activations for sure. And you may not even know what reality you are currently in when you're here in this course. So it's truly about taking you through different dimensions to completely other dimensions of time, space, reality, and utilizing this beautiful portal of the womb to activate and heal the mother energies of the sacral chakra and the maternal issues of Cancer. This full moon is very much highlighted. So I'm really excited about all of this. And when we talk about Uranus opening up the door here for this full moon opportunity, the portal of the womb, this is about an awakening. Uranus is about awakening. It is about completely shifting your reality. It's about breaking things, reinventing yourself, revolutionizing everything that you've ever known. It's, if you can't tell, I feel like I've got a shit-eating grin on my face, and it's because I know what you guys are in for, who are going to be in this course. And you're going to be blown away. You really are. I promise you that. So to me, for those of you really looking to open up a portal into your future, that opens up the destination, your destiny, to where you have been in many ways preparing yourself to go, but have not yet made the full commitment or had that conversation with yourself or others that is required in order to level up, to move forward and not look back anymore. Because I feel that's why this Mercury retrograde is at place, because after this, you will not look back. You will not look back. You are looking forward and you are full steam ahead. This is a massive release of a full moon. And again, there's a lot of helpful energy here, a lot of helpful energy making this happen. So again, if you guys are interested in the womb of activation, for any of you, I'm going to leave that link in the description below, or email me, Nicole at NicoleFrolick.com. But otherwise, I hope this full moon is everything that it can be, in a sense of, oh, let the feelings flow and let the conversations that have been waiting a very long time to be had, be had. There is an identity shift happening here. Who you were in the past is no longer who you are today. And there is some sort of realization that needs to happen around this. And there could be, again, communications or information that comes forward to solidify this. So curious to know, drop in the comments, guys, of this video, or if you're listening on Spotify, please, in the Q&A section, let me know how you experience this full moon in a couple of days, or if maybe you're already feeling the energies, because I mean, it's just a couple of days away, right? We're looking at this Friday. So let me know how it's been for you. And Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy 2023. I mean, our next moon, new moon in Aquarius, is going to be our first lunar cycle for this new year. But we're finally going to be coming out of retrogrades. Oh, on the 12th, Mars stations direct. On the 18th, 19th, Mercury stations direct. I think on the 22nd or 23rd, Uranus stations direct. And from the 23rd on until the end of April, we will be retrograde free of all the planets. So it's a great time for forward movement. You should feel everything speeding up towards the end of the month. Things will be full steam ahead. There's a little bit of a sleepy start to 2023, but if you ask me, I'm okay with it. I'm actually looking at taking some needed rest. And I think for me, I'm going to use the time to go into a writing mode. So guys, thank you so much for being here and hanging out. I know that I am not Mary and I am apologizing that she was unable to be here. Let's all send her some love to those vocal cords so she can be here next time for our full moon in Leo, right? Our full moon in Leo next month. And we'll definitely, Mary, know that we love you. We're sending all our love. And guys, I hope to be back here with you soon. I literally have so many videos on my list of what I want to talk to you about. It is just a matter of which one do I want to do first? Which one do I want to talk to them about first? There's so many. And I've just been needing to kind of get my energy in order. But those are definitely on their way out. So I hope you enjoy. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being so supportive. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with family and friends. Or if you haven't already, please leave a review on Apple or Spotify. I would greatly appreciate that support in any way. It helps the podcast get found by others. And let me just tell you that the awakening is in full steam ahead. There is such a mass awakening happening right now that it is making me smile so big. I am seeing it happening across all industries, across all platforms. It is it's not on its way. It is in full motion. So people are needing more information like this podcast. So if you can leave me a review, it just helps the podcast get found by others more easily. I love you guys. Have an amazing full moon in Cancer, and I'll be back with you next week. Thanks again for joining me for another show on the Enlighten Up podcast. I love you guys so much for all of your continued support. So remember to raise your vibe, find your tribe, and be open to the infinite possibilities held in the mysteries that surround us all. Thanks again for sharing the show with your family and friends. And if you're new to the show and you need to find out more information about me, please head on over to my website, NicoleFrolick.com, where you can join my newsletter. And please follow me on Instagram, Telegram, and YouTube. Keep your light bright, and I'll see you next week.